Crypto Trader is proudly brought to you by eToro. Discover a simpler way to trade and invest in cryptocurrencies and more.
Welcome to Malta, dubbed the Blockchain Island. This tiny Mediterranean enclave sits in the middle of open seas, crafting an open regulatory framework harboring favorable crypto legislation. Such welcoming tides have long birthed offshore gaming and gambling operations right here on its shores, literally. Now it's Crypto Trader's first visit to the de facto European crypto capital for the BTC Malta Blockchain Summit, where our own Lindsay Jew will be looking at the wider European scene and stirring up a storm with Craig Wright and Richard Hart.
Are you Satoshi?
Yes.
Okay. So you wrote the Satoshi white paper?
Yes.
We'll see Tim Draper and Pomp.
The world is waking up to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies.
Bobby Lee's big-time price prediction.
$100,000, even $200,000.
Projects like Tezos up in price.
Coinbase came out and said they're going to have staking available.
Malta-based projects like Chiliz with real-world use cases.
And with this token, it can vote on decision of the club. So it's really about fan engagement and fan monetization.
And of course, traders, and more traders.
If someone wants to invest in altcoins, he has to time the market really, really well.
And then from there, who knows, we might see all-time highs at the start of next year.
All this on the special episode of Crypto Trader.
This week, Crypto Trader is here in Malta. Let's take a look at what's going on.
Welcome to the premier European blockchain gathering here in Malta. And what a better setting. Just take a look around. There's over 100 exhibitors driving innovation in the space here in Europe. On the institutional side, there's big names like IBM, KPMG, European projects galore, a startup alley.
We're on the floor. We're seeing more sponsors than we've ever seen at a conference before.
And the government of Malta itself, all in on blockchain development.
The blockchain island is no longer an abstract concept. We have now moved well beyond the hype.
Many regulators are not actually embracing this technology.
Speak with HSBC, speak with Citigroup, they will tell you no, it's not possible.
Our country has now emerged as a global leader on this front.
Welcome to Malta Blockchain Summit. I'm here with host Iman Poulis, and he's going to give us a look around.
Can't wait.
Let's go.
Welcome to the AI and Blockchain Summit. This is our third edition. And we have 6,000 people gracing the floor.
Yeah, this is known as Blockchain Island.
What we're doing here is complementing a lot what the government is doing. When we launched the blockchain show last year, the government also used this expo to launch the 3 bills on blockchain. The government in 2019 is launching a set of incentives to attract companies, this time in artificial intelligence, to relocate or co-locate to Malta.
What kind of growth have you seen in Malta?
Well, there's a lot of companies who are now applying for the license. There's companies trickling in, and it's looking really, really good in this jurisdiction. And it's not just the new kids on the block.
Right. These companies are from all over. We're not just seeing companies from Malta or from Europe.
This show is truly an international one where West meets East.
And we're also seeing some of the gaming come out here in Malta.
There's another company here, Lucky.io. We have quite a few gaming companies who want to showcase their product. But something I take pride in is the fact that we help a lot of startups. So every show that we do, we allow up to 100 startups to apply and get a small free booth from us, get a lot of mentoring. We introduce them to investors. We also let the top 10 from these 100 pitch on stage for free.
Wow, from many different countries.
Side by side, and you can see all the countries that they're coming from as well. India, Brazil, you can see a lot of action happening here in the startup village.
So over 100 startups. What's next for you, Iman?
Well, moving forward, it's time to head to Manila. So we're packing our stuff, and come June 8th, we're going to Manila to launch the same thing.
Iman, thank you. Next up for you is Manila. We're going to go check out the headliners.
All right.
See ya.
And what a headline it was. We teased it earlier with Ran and had it up on Twitter right after it happened. But closing out the conference was Craig Wright, with Richard Hart publicly calling him out on his claims of being Satoshi.
Are you Satoshi?
Yes.
Okay. So you wrote the Satoshi white paper?
Yes.
and you implemented the 1 megabyte block limit.
I put a temporary limit in there after being badgered by Mr. Finney.
Right. So when you had access to the code base and could update the GitHub, and when you had access to your account on Bitcoin Talk, and when you had access to your Satoshin@gmx.com email, when did you decide that you would stop using those and stop having influence over the project, and then side channel appear as a broke guy later with no successful business interests, no Bitcoin tied to his address, no running from the government in Australia, from the Australian tax office?
Sorry, I'm not actually running from Australia. I'm in Britain. You know there's extradition laws in Britain to Australia? Sorry, morons who make things up, that's called libel and slander. That's why I've already got a number of people in court, because they're dumb. They have no idea that you can't basically be a public figure in Britain and run from the government.
Right. You're only a public figure because you cosplay as Satoshi, right?
No,
the real Satoshi would still be writing Bitcoin improvement proposals. The real Satoshi would have been there with me fighting against BCH and taking the brand. But you didn't even fork real Bitcoin. You forked a copy of Bitcoin. You made a copy of a copy.
I did not fork Bitcoin. SegWit forked Bitcoin.
Bro, I don't think you can spell SegWit.
You want to say these things and whatever else, and you want to say blah, blah, blah. No. I actually made a deal with Jihan. Jihan actually stabbed us in the back, so that's a different issue.
I was watching you during the hash rate race when you were competing with Kelvin's hash rate from CoinGeek to try and actually take over as the authoritative chain against Bcash.
No,
and you
actually
said
we
you would take over and you lost.
So, sorry, didn't. We limited in what we bought.
Theatrics aside, we sat down with both larger-than-life characters to see what they're up to. Like it or not, Craig Wright has been around for a while.
Just headed to the stage, we have Craig Wright. So Craig, what are you going to be talking about on stage today?
I'm going to be talking about honest money, the reason that Bitcoin was actually developed, which is a system unlike any other cryptocurrency, designed so that it had tracing, that it can be seized, that everything that people love to argue is actually wrong. So this whole anarchist idea of Bitcoin as some money out there that government can't touch, it's false.
It's false.
It's
okay.
Absolutely false.
And what's coming up for you right now? I understand the 1 year anniversary for BSV.
Yes. 1 year anniversary of escaping a whole lot of crazy developers, yes. Do you see this? When I developed Bitcoin, one of the comments I made was the protocol is set in stone. You cannot change the protocol. You can't add SegWit, you can't add all these extra things to, like opcodes to make bucket shops or whatever else. Bitcoin is set in stone. It's like internet protocol, it's not meant to change. If you can't build on Bitcoin and know that 20 years from now your transaction will still be valid, you're not running Bitcoin.
You're not running. What were you running?
Some scam thing that people are trying to change, where a group of developers want to run around with their anarchist wet dreams saying how money's meant to be outside the control of government and other bullshit.
Okay, this is certainly stirring the pot. What would you address to the naysayers?
Do I really care? I mean, technology wins. I know people love to say the best technology doesn't win. They use things like beta. That's what people who lost say when they have a crappy technology.
Okay, so spell it out for me. If technology is going to win, what's it going to look like years from now? What are we going to be seeing?
Hundreds of billions of transactions a second, micropayments in thousands or tens of thousands of a cent level. No more. Having your data sold around the world so that basically a bunch of plutocrats sitting there selling techno-communism in Silicon Valley can basically rape the world's economy to make crap technology.
Are you still seeing that today, this crap technology?
Oh yeah, I've seen Facebook. So everyone's running around going, I've got a new whatever. So what?
Okay, we're in Malta, so what? It's the technology that counts.
Okay.
Thank you.
And what counts is also what was said on stage. Twitter's Bitcoin SV train posted a highlight video of, quote, Craigisms.
I've got Asperger's, so there's only so much stupid I can take before I get a bit riled and annoyed. The SEC basically put them over the table and raped them until they squealed. Every single thing that you're saying about tokens not being covered is utter bullshit. But you're running around going, decentralized. Any exchange that doesn't do this will be fucked. Say to the government in China and America, fuck you. Your exchange will follow the law or be screwed. This decentralized because it's decentralized. Really? Do you even know what the frick the word means?
Thank you, Craig. Now back to the floor.
Let me guess. You're too busy to watch this ad. Just like you were too busy to invest in Bitcoin or Ethereum. Oh, who's a Gucci boo-boo? Who's a Gucci boo-boo? You're a Gucci boo-boo. You think trading crypto is hard? How hard is it to open eToro, pick a coin, and hit trade? Now, maybe you're thinking, but I'm just a food blogger. I can't do this trading stuff on my own. Well, I got news for you, pal. With eToro's social trading, you don't have to. This is called a news feed. It's like your social media feed if your social media feed had things that mattered. And if you got any questions, just ask them. Observe. Can I pay my babysitter with Bitcoin? But sir, my brain can't handle more than 140 characters. Is there some way you could make things even easier for me? Why, yes, I can. With Copy Trader. Just find a top investor on eToro. How about someone with piercing blue eyes and a voice so husky you could pull a sled and hit copy? You. From now on, whenever they make a trade, you make the same trade automatically. Neato! I just made a trade automatically! I'm so proud of you, bestie. So join eToro and start trading the world's top markets. I got a plane to catch. Got it. eToro.
And now let's talk trading as we sit down with the previously highlighted Richard Hart to talk about all things crypto.
We're just coming off San Francisco Blockchain Week. Big announcement there with China. Do you have some follow-up thoughts to what's going on there?
So the Chinese president can move the price up 40% a day, and Trump tweets have no effect, apparently. And it's funny because that day was also a 50 over 200 day moving average death cross.
So people aren't necessarily counter trading to Trump, but they're keeping an eye on China and taking notes and moves from what's going on there from government.
Yeah, I think if you really want to do well in blockchain, you have to understand Asia.
So then where do you think that the market's headed?
I think that we bought the $3,000 bottom and went up to $14,000 based on Asian buying for a Ponzi scheme. A Ponzi scheme launched in China that no one in the West knew about, and they now hold 1% of all Bitcoin. Unless they sold them, I can't track the coins, they've moved them around a lot. Now, that 14K top was the day that the founders of that Ponzi scheme got arrested. So they scaled up and bought probably $8 billion cash worth of crypto. That they would get people to buy crypto, give it to them, and then they would give them a fake token and say, look how rich you're getting. And then they get arrested, the fake token goes to zero, and now they're holding 200,000 Bitcoin.
So the Ponzi scheme model is when users are coming onto a platform, they're putting in BTC, Bitcoin, and they're getting back these altcoins that the exchange is offering, right?
Exactly. Okay. And this isn't the first time we've seen that. So the Plus Token Ponzi is the second Ponzi that has taken billions and billions of dollars of normal people's money and used it to buy crypto for themselves that they kept. So BitConnect was the first multi-billion-dollar one. Plus Token will be the second, and I'm sure we'll see a third.
Besides taking notes on Ponzi schemes, that's
that's what caused the price to go up, and it's what caused the price for 14K to stop. And that's just unreasonable to go up 4.5x with no dips over 25% cryptos. It's extremely rare, and only happened because something the West had no idea about. So what we need to have in crypto is people starting things that look like Ponzi schemes, like Hex.Win, the thing I invented. It looks like a Ponzi scheme because we promise you high returns and the marketing is good and it's got a referral program. Ponzi schemes have all that.
And that's for holding crypto, not necessarily trading crypto. Okay.
You shouldn't trade it. So you lock your coins and you get a return for being a stakeholder.
Okay,
if
you come onto Crypto Trader, say don't trade it, hold it, and get the interest
you can
return
still
on
trade it if you want, but you see, trading is risky, right? Because you get shaken out.
So we got stop losses, we got China analysis, we got hodling. Any other notes or shots you're calling?
If you want to see Ponzi's stop taking everyone's money, there's only two ways to make that happen, okay? One, you get with your regulators and you prevent the Ponzi's from getting the money. Because right now, all the law does is they wait until you lose everything, and then they yell at the guy that took all your money, and you don't get your money back.
Okay.
How's that good for the world?
Anything that you're watching in particular right now?
So I think Hex.Win is excellent for the reasons I just told you. It's designed to appreciate. I think Monero is great if you want privacy. I think Bitcoin's something to really watch because it's got the blue chip status. I wouldn't be surprised if altcoins had another run because everyone right now is a Bitcoin maximalist. Ian Bellina, a guy that just totally promoted ICOs and altcoins and stuff, he's a maximalist now. I wouldn't be surprised if new coins came out that didn't have a bunch of bag holders from higher and found very high appreciation. We just need one or two to show insane gains to the market, and then people will get that flavor and hop in.
Any idea of when that's going to be?
It could be with Hex. It could be that could be the thing that kicks off the alt season, or it could be another coin. If you want to move the price up, not selling doesn't help. That just doesn't move it down. You need new money to move the price up, and that really only happens from marketing. Basically, the only crypto marketing that you find are from exchanges that beat you up with fees or from scams that just take all your money because no one else can be cash positive onboarding a new user. If you want sustainable marketing for crypto and more than, in Bitcoin there's only 2.8 million wallets that have over $1,000 in them. If you want more than 2.8 million real users, you need advertisements.
Okay, so we'll be looking for new users to come into the market. We'll be watching China, and we'll be talking to regulators to prevent those Ponzi schemes.
That's the plan. And build better projects that compete for mindshare by advertising against those Ponzi schemes using the same tactics they do, but for honest projects. Because we do already have mad gains in honest projects.
Real projects. Well said. Let's talk to some other traders here at the summit to get some European insight.
In the last few weeks, we've been in Japan, Korea, and San Francisco. Now we're here in Europe, getting a sense from the European traders about what's going on. Today we're here with Crypto, one of Europe's top traders. So let's talk Bitcoin.
We are actually still bullish on Bitcoin, also in the short term because we had that crazy spike like 1.5, 2 weeks ago. Now the price is consolidating and even going below the 200-day moving average again, which is in fact something bad. We have to see if we are closing below. Which is good is that there is not a lot of volume while we are going below the 200-day moving average. So as of right now, we are still confident that we are in a bullish scenario right now and that we might see some continuation pattern to the upside for good. We just have to let the chart tell us what to do.
Okay, following the charts, maybe bullish, time will tell. What about alt season? What do you think this means for alts?
So for the alt season, that's a very difficult topic. We have this 4-year cycles and everyone is trying to get into alts to outperform Bitcoin. In fact, if you look at the history, then altcoins were only able to outperform Bitcoin for 3 or 4 months, and we do not see that change anytime soon. So what we think is there will be another alt season. It won't be too crazy and it won't be for all too long. So if someone wants to invest in altcoins, he has to time the market really, really well and also not stay into altcoins for all too long. So what we will do is, only from our perspective, if nothing changes, we will go a little bit more into altcoins. We will expose maybe 25-30% of our portfolio into altcoins once Bitcoin reaches the new all-time high. So once Bitcoin goes above 20,000 and stays above 20,000.
Okay, watch it go up to 20K and that's when we'll see alt season.
Yeah. Also
again.
For 20K, like when we are talking about it right now, we think actually that we might reach the new all-time high before the halving, which is in May 2020, as everyone knows right now, in like 190 days. And the interesting thing about that is, in the last 2 or 3 cycles, we always saw the new all-time high after the halving event, after the Bitcoin future inflation got cut in half.
Okay. What other calls are you making at this point?
So we are long on Bitcoin with low leverage because there might be weeks we might go down. We don't want to get liquidated. As far as altcoins are concerned, in our long-term holding portfolio, we only have Monero and Ethereum, the big ones. So Ethereum as a smart contract platform, it's the most proven one, even though Tron is getting used a little bit more. And also Monero as an anonymous alternative, and it is really decentralized. So this is our long-term calls, very long-term.
Okay, great, thank you. Continuing with our traders, let's talk to an Australian trader. Good to see you today, Craig.
Lovely to see you.
Thanks for coming on. So tell me, what are you seeing in the market?
Right now I'm seeing a lot of volatility. There's a few things we need to see actually occur before I become much more bullish. I'm looking at the weekly, the daily and the monthly charts right now. We've got a higher low potentially set there on the weekly with a little bullish candle in what I call the cradle zone. A break of the high of last month's candle, which was a positive candle, mostly with the volatility over 2 days. We break the high of that, I think we can set new 2019 highs, and then from there, who knows, we might see all-time highs at the start of next year.
All-time highs. What about alt season?
Alt season, that's a tough one. When it will come, I don't know. What I do know is when Bitcoin goes sideways, trading alts to build sats, that's what we do.
Any specific calls that you're making?
I do see Bitcoin having a lot more adoption, a lot more growth in the next few years. Exactly when that kicks off, I don't know. It's really based on that weekly and monthly chart when it comes to my perspective.
From a trader on the floor, let's check in with Tim Draper, doing an AMA with AIBC's Jessica Walker on his thoughts around the market.
How big do you see the potential of Bitcoin right now?
So this is really one of the most transformative technologies that has ever hit the world. I was there for the internet boom where they transformed media and communications, information, gaming, entertainment. A lot of interesting industries. They're all in sort of the $10 to $100 billion range. But Bitcoin, when combined with the blockchain, smart contracts, and artificial intelligence, have the potential to completely transform the industry. The ability now for you entrepreneurs out there to transform insurance and real estate and government itself and healthcare, all of these industries are ripe for the picking, and they are in trillions of dollars.
What are his thoughts on the implications of Libra coming out versus Bitcoin?
And what are your thoughts on the implications of Libra coming out versus Bitcoin?
I think anytime a government puts that much of an effort into trying to destroy and put down a currency like that, you know it's a huge winner.
Tim Draper, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a round of applause.
Just off the stage with Tim Draper, we have host and MC Jessica Walker. Hey Jessica,
Hi.
So good to talk to you.
Great to talk to you too.
So you just got off the stage with Tim Draper?
Yes, it was incredible.
Who are some of the other headliners that we're seeing over the next 2 days?
A personal favorite for me that we saw was Matty Greenspan, who is a senior market analyst for eToro, based out of Tel Aviv.
If November is anything like, October, we could be in for a very, very wild ride.
Okay, so we're seeing institutional players, we're seeing celebrities, investors. Who are some of the other names?
We've also got Maltese regulators and government officials. We had Silvio Schembri, who's a parliamentary secretary that came, and we did an interview with him, and he was really talking about Malta and why Malta is such a fantastic regulatory sandbox.
In the words of the late, great Steve Jobs, innovation is the ability to see change as an opportunity and not a threat.
How do you think that Malta ties into the whole European scene?
I think what's really interesting is, as we mentioned, Malta is a smaller country and the government is here, and the government comes to these small and large blockchain conferences and they really talk and share their insights. And it's not something that I've personally seen from many other conferences around the world.
It's an interesting topic, and it's true. Who will take the leadership now?
Actually, from the UK standpoint, there's a lot of conferences that happen in London, and London has a really huge fintech scene. So London has a lot of the talent and a lot of the technology, and they're still working through the full potential that blockchain has. I think when it comes to Switzerland, for example, we see some fantastic Swiss projects that are on the scene. And I think when it comes to Swiss regulators and also the Swiss standard of financial institutions and banking, that brings another standard to the European blockchain and cryptocurrency space.
Okay, so places like Malta, what we're seeing out of Zug, Switzerland, these regulation standards are really what's opening the gateways for crypto, for blockchain, and we're seeing such a different energy here at the AIBC Summit. Thank you, Jessica. You have an AMA with Pomp. We'll see you on the floor.
Thank you.
Let's see what's going on.
From there, Pomp patched in on his thoughts around the China blockchain announcement. Let's listen in.
The world is waking up to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Whether that is central bankers realizing that there are private corporations and decentralized networks that are starting to build mediums of exchange and stores of value, or it's other countries like China, etc., who are saying, look, this technology is going to be foundational to the future, and we want to be a leader in that space. I think this is all very, very positive for the industry in general.
Where do you see things going forward next year? What kind of things are you expecting to see from the industry?
Yeah, the shorter the time frame, the harder the prediction, right? I think that generally Bitcoin is headed exactly where it's supposed to, which is I fundamentally believe that Bitcoin will be the global reserve currency at some point in the future. It will take a while to get there, but we will get there. In the short term, I think we'll continue to see much of the same. You'll continue to see transactions increasing, hash rate increasing, more and more infrastructure being built, more regulatory clarity, and you'll see more and more countries jumping in to participate in some form of fashion in the industry. And again, it's just much more of the same. It's all back towards a bull market that I think will be bigger than we saw in 2017.
Now back to the floor. Here we are in the middle of the floor. They're giving out beer. Let's talk to people and see what's going on. Hey, what's going on in Malta this week?
Oh, mate, it's been great. Look, you can't be in a better place, can you?
No. Erhan, what are you seeing this week in Malta?
I've seen there's so many exciting projects, like in the past, everyone was talking about the Malta being the first country to, legalize crypto and everything else.
All right. So are you trading Bitcoin?
Oh, yeah, we're trading Bitcoin. We're back, bought some stocks. Yeah. But now the price of the Bitcoin is decreased, so...
Okay, maybe knock off the socks. Thanks, guys. What's going on in Malta?
Malta is great. First of all, Malta is very good for blockchain and the crypto industry. The regulators are absolutely wonderful. This is the biggest conference in Europe. It's pretty impressive.
What are you seeing?
Everything from cannabis to crypto to AI. I learned so much. I'll come back next year.
All right, this is where people come to innovate and create. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Right now we are done and we are having an after beer.
That's a wrap from the exhibition hall. Stay tuned for more Crypto Trader after the break.
Our fourth edition of AIBC Summit will be held in vibrant Manila in Southeast Asia. As you know, Manila is fast becoming the hub for online gaming in Asia, and we are also launching the largest show for online gaming worldwide, Sigma, in Manila. And we felt that by coexisting with our AIBC Summit, we're going to give a unique opportunity for the gaming industry to adopt new technology, big on blockchain, big on AI, big on quantum, big on big data, big on Internet of Things. So 3 unique reasons why the 8th and 9th of June should be on your calendar. And I look forward to see you in Manila on those dates.
Welcome back. We've seen some major highlights from the AIBC Malta Blockchain Summit, some key trading insight, and now let's talk projects.
We're here with Tezos, big in the news. I hear Coinbase and OKX.
Chief amongst them, Tezos, who had a hell of a week on the markets.
Coinbase came out and said they're going to have staking available and live for investors. Also, OKX came out and said the same thing. Not only did they list XTZ, but they're offering staking to their clients as well. A little bit better rate than Coinbase offers.
What else are we seeing in the news? We saw the big Pomp.
Yes, also there's a lot of STO news. There are billions and billions and billions of dollars of real estate assets that are committing to tokenize on Tezos through the STO process.
From Tezos, let's go back up to the exhibition hall.
And here's the startup pitch winners. They're part gaming, part mining.
We are representing GamerHash, but our company is not just about gaming. It's we are allowing our users to mine cryptocurrency. We are targeting gamers, but what we are actually doing, we are allowing them to make money with their PCs.
What are you seeing here?
I'm seeing a maturing market.
What are you trading these days?
I don't trade, I build. We're building the world's first continuous audit and reporting protocol ecosystem.
How's it been this week in Malta?
It was quite interesting, it was quite exciting, so we've got a lot of new potential customers and partners. We've announced also the first audited cryptocommerce software solution, so in addition you can launch also audited crypto exchange.
Turnkey solutions, thanks. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk to Herbert and see what's going on. Hey, the Bitcoin man.
Hello.
How's Malta been for you?
It's been amazing so far. The show is almost coming to an end, and it's been really successful one.
Yeah. Besides Bitcoin, what else are you trading?
There's a bunch of altcoins, but mainly I still love Bitcoin. It's about to get bullish.
What altcoins are you trading?
So far, I'm still hodling Zilliqa, and of course, there are many more new ones. I would personally like Kucoin.
Speaking of Zilliqa, we're talking to them on set right now. So Max, how is the European blockchain scene?
The European blockchain scene is growing. It's still fragmented, but if you look at London, you look at Berlin, even Barcelona, Paris, there's lots of activity going on around blockchain, but also people launching really, really interesting projects that need to adopt on top of public and private blockchains.
I understand that you have some news coming off after San Francisco Blockchain Week.
We have. Yesterday some news was announced about the fact that Zilliqa is working with a Singapore regulated entity called XFers to launch a pilot of a Singapore dollar-based stablecoin. And this is really, really important because the stablecoin is a very important component of building a decentralized finance ecosystem. We've had some amazing conversations which I think will lead to some big things for us.
That's wonderful. Well, Max, I appreciate your time and giving your perspective. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Standing out on the floor was Chiliz, dedicated to European club football fans and rapid growth.
Game on, engaging sports fans on the global stage.
It shot up in the market and is seen as one of the best real-world use cases we've seen. Here's their CEO on stage.
I'm going to talk about Chiliz and Socios.com. Most of you guys probably don't know it, but we are a Malta-based company. We raised last year $60 million, more than $60 million.
Right off the stage, we're going to talk to Alex from Chiliz. Let's see what he has to say about being in Malta. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me.
So we understand you guys are the biggest blockchain company in Malta.
Yes.
You've been here for 14 years. You're a veteran.
Yeah, no, I mean, and what we do is very simple. We are tokenizing some of the biggest sports teams in the world, like Juventus, Paris Saint-Germain, and other esports and soccer teams.
Okay, and how does that work? You're not tokenizing the players, it's the team as a whole and their performance?
So no, it's actually, it's based on the fans. The idea is that 99.9% of a fan of a sports team is not in the stadium or the arena of the sports or the team. And these teams, especially because now there is global distribution, there is social media, these teams have huge global reach, but they don't know how to engage with their fans in Korea, in Japan, in China, in Thailand. So by creating a token, we give a voice to the fan. So the fan gets a token, and with this token, he can vote on decision of the club. So it's really about fan engagement and fan monetization.
All right, and we're doing that with crypto and your own token, is that correct?
Yes, so we created a platform called Socios.com. We actually launched yesterday or 2 days ago.
Congratulations.
Thanks. The app on Android. We already have 7,000 downloads already. We aim to have 100,000 in the next 3 months and 1 million in 12 months. The idea, and that's very arrogant, but I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm allowed, is we aim to be the biggest blockchain-based app in the next 12 months.
Okay, and you're going to do that with expanding your base. You guys are going to go outside of Europe and tokenize other teams?
Yes, so we are based in Malta because it's, of course, a European country. It's a crypto-friendly environment. We have 60 employees. We are the biggest company here in the blockchain space. But we have also operation in Buenos Aires, where we will announce soon Latin American teams. And myself, I'm going in Asia for the next 2 months to actually move to set up our operation both in Korea and Singapore in order to grow our ecosystem there.
So that's the perspective of projects building right here in Europe. But what makes Malta and the continent ripe for blockchain development and adoption? Let's talk to a mix of voices in the space.
You've heard from our traders, and now we're here with former regulator Joseph. Let's talk about what's going on in Malta.
Well, Malta is one of the first jurisdictions to holistically regulate blockchain. The nice thing about it is that Malta did not just look at exchanges or ICOs, but it has also looked at other things. So it has looked at funds, gaming and blockchain to allow operators to accept cryptocurrencies in the form of payment, but also to make use of technology, of blockchain technology on their platform.
And how have you seen that change the landscape here in Malta?
The Maltese approach is quite tough, all in all. But I believe that this is going to be the standard in the next few months, let's say, in the next maximum couple of years. We'll see all the jurisdictions having to have a similar framework to what Malta has.
Okay, we will see. Appreciate it, Joseph. Thank you very much.
From one former regulator, let's talk to a former banker bridging regulators and crypto together on the continent.
Where were you a former banker?
I worked for big banks like Citigroup, like General Electric, GE Capital.
So Marshall, as a former banker, what are you seeing and how do you think that these moves can bolster crypto?
Yeah, it's very interesting because when I was working on the other side, all of the goals and the banks I've been working for, their goal was to not work with cryptocurrency providers. And it was about thinking how it's possible to make sure that it's not happening, which I really believe is something that we have to change.
So tell me, I understand you're working on a revolutionary project here in Malta. What do you guys focus on?
I'm focused on advisory.
Advisory. And how are you going to change that landscape?
Oh, it will be a very long journey. It will be a long journey, but it should be, we should find a way to give the confidence to the banks that they know exactly with whom they are speaking, who are the clients, that they understand who are the clients of their clients. You know that the biggest risk that the regulator and the banks are afraid is money laundering and it's financial sanctions. North Korea, Iran, that they've been using cryptocurrency in order to evade US sanctions.
And what's happening at this stage? Are the banks listening?
The banks, they are not for the moment. They are extremely reluctant. I think the first point would be to help the cryptocurrencies to build a strong framework, to build a proper anti-financial crime program. But we see now a lot of initiatives. There is the SRB, the Supervisory Review Board, which is part of the G7. And this is something that they say around June next year, they will be providing.
So it's a two-pronged approach then. It's not only from the cryptocurrency side, but it's also from the financial institution side.
Absolutely.
And you're here to bridge that gap as a former banker and now a cryptocurrency advocate.
You're absolutely right, exactly.
So that's the regulatory roundup here in Malta. And the summit is following along, making a big splash featuring Akon and the release of his project focused not here, but in Africa.
Let's take a break from trading and talk to Akon about his new project. Hi, good to talk to you today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're here with Akon and he is releasing the A-Coin. So tell us, what do you have planned for your token?
One thing about Africa, we're in 54 countries, everyone has their own currency, and none of it is stable.
This is to unite the whole continent.
We unite the whole continent.
And I mean, we've seen so much fluctuation and volatility in Zimbabwe. I mean, is that one of the reasons you decided to come up with this token?
That was one of many reasons. I think, the destabilization of Africans and the territories in which they are and it not being governed by them. But there's so many areas where improvement can work if the people are more involved.
What's going on with the token right now? Are you guys in beta?
Yes, we're in full beta testing. The platform is fully built out, and now we're just in beta testing all throughout the continent.
So this is only for Africa. If someone is outside of Africa, they can't take advantage or trade this. Will we see this on international exchanges?
Oh no, this will be on all the exchanges. Just keep in mind that this is a global platform. What we're doing, Africa is my major concentrated market because that was the purpose of why I built it.
Okay, we have a lot of traders that watch our show. What would you say to some of the traders and how they could collaborate or take a look at your token?
Well, actually, what I would tell them, especially for anything crypto or digital, Africa's the future for that. So if you're creating anything digitally or trying to digitize an existing system, and you don't have Africa in mind, you're already behind 10 years, 20 years. So anything that you're doing, keep Africa in mind as the main focus because Africa will be the driving and the leader of technology in the future.
Okay, so tonight you have a performance. Is this a regular musical performance? Are we going to be talking tokens tonight?
No, it's a simple party and I might grab the mic and do a few songs.
Yeah. All right, Akon, it's a pleasure talking to you today.
My pleasure,
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
On that note, let's get Akon to take us out. That's Crypto Trader from Malta, the tiny blockchain island making big waves. We'll see you again next week from New York. Until then, I'll be on Twitter at CryptoManRun. And you should trade well, my friends.
Crypto Trader is proudly brought to you by eToro. Discover a simpler way to trade and invest in cryptocurrencies and more.